I've done a lot of revision with you for NPV in the last class. The new methods as well, you've learned it, the modified IRR, you've learned it. The duration, modified duration, you've seen all of that. They are all different from your old methods as well, you've seen. Yeah, but now focus is still on NPV, yeah, which is what you know. Yeah, in the last study we did in FM. And the most important thing actually here is you working with relevant cash flows. Yeah, relevant cash flows. It's still the same concept. The only thing is that more complications will come because we are now appraising an investment in a foreign country. Right. So which means there will be more factors to be considered. Remember, in FM, those factors we consider things like taxation. So you already know how to deal with taxations in a local country. Yeah, like your capital allowances, your tax rate, and all of that. Yeah, you've learned that before. Working capital, we've dealt with that before. How you will use that. Inflation, you remember. And also, I recommended last class that you can go back to those NPV videos in FM. Yeah, on my channel if you want to do some revision or if you struggle at all. So you remember you've dealt with that, yeah. However, in this part, this advanced NPV calculations that we'll be doing is going to go beyond this. Even taxations will go beyond what you know, because now we'll be looking at taxations relating to intercompany transactions, so remittance restrictions. We'll be looking into all of that. Yeah, we'll look at international CAPM as well, right? So, and few things little concepts that will be put together in one questions then that you need to know how to deal with it. Yeah, if you see a working capital, you know how to deal with it. If you see an inflation, you know the rule with inflation. Yeah, like it's about you making sure that, oh, you need to decide whether you are working with a real cost of capital or money cost of capital. If it's a real cost of capital, you must use real cash flows. If it's a money cost of capital, you must use money cash flows. But there are more issues that we need to understand. So, and that's what I want to quickly deal with now. So, we'll deal with such issues and explain how you need to address them when you see them in question, such that you are able to work out your relevant cash flows and discount it to get your NPV. Remember, the process is the same thing for NPV. It's about know your relevant cash flows, know your discount factor, and get your present value. That's it. It's the same process. But this part is where you have to be extremely careful. Getting the relevant cash flows. Yeah. Because even getting PV, you can use your Excel in exams. See computer-based exam, you are allowed to use your Excel, just put it there, which I'm going to show you in next class. I think I actually even showed you in last class. Even for modifier, for all of them, I showed you on Excel. Yeah. So you might not even need to start worrying yourself about discount factor already. But where you will need to do a lot of work is getting the right relevant cash flows and making the right write-ups, the right judgment, the right explanations, providing the relevant advisory as you should be able to. Right. So the first concept I want to talk about is the foreign exchange rate. Very important. And you probably know why this is crucial. If you want to invest, you are a UK-based company and you want to invest in the Canadian market, your cash flows will be Canadian currency. There's nothing you can, it's not going to be in pounds. So which means that cash flow that you're going to be making money in Canadian currency. But your investment most likely will be coming from your own currency, UK pounds. So, and likewise, your cost of fund is probably coming from you as a company based in the UK. So, are you going to be using the cost of fund or cost of capital in the UK to discount a Canadian currency? No, you can't do that. So, which means one way or the other, you will always have to convert cash flows using FX rate. Well, guys, the examiners will not be so nice to you to give you exchange rate. At least most times they will not give you the exchange rate. You will always have to estimate or determine. You always have to estimate it. You always have to calculate it. They will not be straightforward. So this is where you start putting the knowledge you had before into practice. So take for instance, they can give you exchange rate for today, and you need to do a calculation that will give you cash flows for the next 4 or 5 years. Who can tell me how can you estimate exchange rate? So which means you need to be able to estimate exchange FX rate. What method can you remember that will be helpful to you if you're trying to estimate FX rate from your past study? How can you, like, or another way to think about it is how can you forecast FX rate? Any idea? Because you always need it in your NPV calculations for foreign cash flows. You've forgotten totally. Goodness. Okay, let me remind you. If you remember the risk management part of your FM paper, section AG or so, the last section, we actually learned how to forecast exchange rate. And I told you that, remember, there are two methods that I gave you. The first one was the purchasing power parity. Purchasing power parity, sorry, and the interest rate parity. These two guys will always come very handy when you need to forecast FX rate for the future. Take, for instance, PPP. With this, you know that you can get your forward rate. Yeah, you can call it forward rate or expected forward rate or future rate. Yeah, you can get your future rate by multiplying the spot rate by 1 plus inflation in the first country divided by 1 plus inflation in the second country. That's why when we're doing FM, I told you that risk management part is the most important part for your AFM. In fact, you always have a 25 marks on risk management in AFM, 100% guaranteed. I told you in the first class that is going to be on risk management, on options, derivatives, and all of that. We'll deal with it very well. Right, but you can already see why this part is quite important. Investment appraisal also is guaranteed. Those are the two parts that I told you first class that you will always see in exams. It is compulsory, you will see them. Yeah. So as I wanted to finish the investment appraisals, finish the risk management, and we know at least we cover almost 50% of the syllabus. So with this method, you can estimate your future exchange rate. And if you want to use interest rate parity, depending on the information you have available in the question, if it's about the real rate, then you know that it's still same formula, spot rate multiplied by 1 plus the real rate in the first country divided by the real rate in the base country. That's it. So these two methods will always help you to forecast your exchange rate. So let me just give you a quick warm up. So let's say you have a spot rate or spot quote. Let's say it's a quote. Do it this way because you need to bring something out to you here. 1.7025 to 1.7075. Yeah. And you have cash flow for year one, year two, year three. What currency? Let's say this is dollar to pounds. Now you have year one, year two, year three. Then this is inflation data that I'm giving you now. So inflation in the US, inflation in the UK, I say it's 5%, 2%, no, it's 3%, 4%. So this is just 4%, 4%. Yeah. So guys, tell me, for cash flow in year one, what exchange rate should we be using? For cash flow in year two, what exchange rate should we use? And for year three, what exchange rate should we use? I will help you briefly with one thing and tell this that's about this quote. So don't bother to convert buy and sell quotes. Just use because it's a single cash flow you're going to have. Yeah, just to make life easy for you. Use mid rate, so which means just get average of these two for the single rate we want to calculate. So don't try and be doing the two of them. Yeah, because I'm not giving you a particular cash flow now. So okay, we can do that quickly. The midpoint is 1.7025 plus 1.7075. Then divided by 2.
1.705.
Thank you. So which means the average quote is 1.705. So that's dollar. So in after year one, so this is spot. After year one, what would that rate be? The mid rate, year two, and year three. I want to know. Having these inflations figures. Year one, I can do year one for you if you struggle, but if you have it, just give it to me. Let me see. Let me just give 2 minutes for someone to do it. I just need the first person to give me, then we'll move to year two. Anyone? Remember, you have inflation figure here, so which means you need to apply your purchasing power parity to get the first year.
So I got year one is 1.755.
1.755. Thank you. Let's quickly work it for the people that probably struggle a bit with it. So you know the average spot is 1.705. So for year one, applying this method because we have inflation and it's always the first currency divided by the second currency. So the spot is given as 1.705 multiplied by 1 plus inflation rate in the upper, which is 1 plus 5%. Then you have 2% in the UK. So 1.05 divided by 1.02 multiplied by 1.705. And that's how we have 1.755. So this becomes the exchange rate at the end of year one. So if you have a cash flow at the end of year one that you need to convert, you'll be using this currency conversion rate. For year two, the spot for year two will be the opening for year two. The opening for year two is the ending of year one, and that becomes 1.755. The same inflation for the 2 years will apply 1.03 divided by 1.04. And that's how we got 1.7382. Yeah, if you go to year three, 1.7382 becomes a spot. But luckily, the inflation is the same across the countries. And in that case, we don't expect any exchange rate movement. It will be stable because there is no difference in inflation. So this remains 1.7382. Very good. So that's one thing that you need to watch out for. You will always be given information that you will have to determine your exchange rate yourself. Yeah. Also, another way they can try to confuse you with exchange rate that you need to get your cash flow right is when they don't give you the real exchange rate, but they give you other exchange rates from where they expect you to determine your exchange rate. What do I mean? Let's take, for instance, here we have dollar for pounds, right? The dollar for pounds is 1.705. We have this. We are lucky. Yeah. However, they can decide not to give you any dollar for pounds exchange rate that you want because this is what you want. You want dollar for pound because you want to convert that dollar to pounds or pounds to dollars. But instead, they can give you exchange rate of dollar or yen. However, they can now as well give you, so they can say this is two, and they can give you pounds or yen to be, say, three. So this is the information that you have. So the question is, what you need is not dollar for yen, is not pound for yen. What you need is dollar and pounds. So you must learn how to calculate what you call the cross rate. So when you use existing information to determine the exact quote that you want, what you are trying to calculate is called the cross rate. And how do you do that? It's just a simple mathematics. What you're saying is that dollar over yen is equals to 2, and pounds over yen is equals to 3. So what's the relationship between these two? What can you do to these two guys to get dollar slash yen? You know definitely that all you have to do, or who can tell us what do we have to do? Let me not be too quick to do it. For us to get dollar over yen, sorry, dollar over pounds. We want to get dollar over pounds. What can we do to these two equations? So we have equation 1 here and equation 2 here. What can we do?
1 divided by 2.
Yeah, we can
Thank
divide
you.
the equation 1 divided by 2.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you divide equation 1 by 2, it means you're saying dollar over yen divided by pounds over yen. And if you remember your mathematics, to change this division to multiplication sign, this will have to go
A-
up
N goes
and
up
this will
and
have to come down. Yeah. So this becomes dollar over yen multiplied by yen over pound. So, and this cancel this out, and this becomes dollar over pounds that we want. So it means dividing equation 1 by equation 2 will give us the quote for dollar over pounds. And equation 1 is 2, and equation 2 is 3. So which means we can get our dollar for pounds to be equals to 0. What? 2 divided by 3, 2.6667. Dollar. That's another way you can be thrown into confusion. So you can see it's not going to be straightforward like it used to be that you just have everything. I mean, you saw some complication as well, even in your FM days. Yeah, initially it looked as if it's a bit complicated, but after a lot of practice, you realize that it became normal. That's the same way we're going to progress with this one. So I'm just going to introduce you to those little concepts that you will struggle with before we go into a full-fledged question, which one we're going to do basically next week. I should be back then. Yeah, so let me test you with something quickly. So let's say UK company. Let's test your understanding. So you have a UK company, yeah. I want to, so a UK company needs products, product G, yeah. Cost is $100,000. It's subsidiary. So that UK company has a subsidiary in Greece. Let's say it's subsidiary in, say, in Germany. Yeah, so if subsidiary in Germany, that's the investment. Yeah. I'm gonna give you the quotes that you have available. So you have dollar per pound 1.9. Then you have euro per pound 1.45. The product is $100. Subsidies in Germany, and NPV will be determined in euro. So what I just want you to do is just tell me this cost of item, what is the figure in euro? Let's work it out. So what we need dollar euro rates, because the money that we want to convert is in dollars, and the currency we want to convert it to is euro. So we have dollar pounds, we have euro pounds. We need dollar euro. So let's see what we have. We have dollar over pounds, and we have euro over pounds. Hmm. But we need dollar over euro. So which means we can divide this by this, just like we did the previous one. So which means if we do dollar over euro divided by this will be pounds over euro. So this will cancel out, and we're going to have a dollar euro cross rate. So and that will mean we are doing 1.9 divided by 1.45. Yeah. And if you divide 1.9 over 1.45, what do you have? That will be our cross rate. 1.9.
1.31.
Thank you. So we have 1.3103. So what we're saying is that 1.3103 dollar for pound for euro is our rate that we need to use. But what does that mean? It means 1.3103 dollars is equivalent to 1 euro. But we are trying to convert $100,000. So that will be equals to 100,000 times 1 divided by 1.3103. You guys, it's actually 76,000 euro. Did you see where you missed it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the cross rate you got perfect. Unfortunately, the easier part is the one you missed out. So, but it's okay because you are just warming up from FM. Yeah, yeah, you okay, probably definitely forgotten a few things, but not too bad. The fact that you are picking the concept, I'm very happy. We're good. Don't worry. Don't panic. It's not bad at all. Yeah. By the time we start working a lot of questions more and more, we'll come back to speed on this one. Yeah. So very important. Inflation, I'm not going to touch on inflation again. It's not different from what you want, what you know in FM, how to apply inflation. Remember, if you have inflation for second year, okay, let's just test it. Let me not assume you're perfect with it. So if I give you inflation for, let's say we have real cash flow and inflation rate. So let's say year one, year two, year three. Cash flow 100, 120, 150. Inflation rate year one, 10%, 8%, 16%. Can you give me the money cash flow for year one, year two, and year three? Year one should be straightforward, straight away. Everybody should give me the money cash flow for year one, like immediately. That should be like a chorus answer.
76,000.
90,
This is money cash flow for year one.
90,
76,000 times 1.1.
How do you get money cash flow? What's the difference between money cash flow and real cash flow? Let me start from there.
inflation.
Inflation. And how does inflation make difference?
Real cash flow includes inflation.
It, no, real cash flow does not include
Does not.
inflation. It's money cash flow that includes the inflation. So real cash flow has not incorporated inflation. So you're saying that future value is equal to present value into 1 plus R raised to power n. It's the same thing as saying money cash flow is equal to real cash flow to 1 plus R raised to power n. So if a money without inflation is 100,
110.
then exactly, then with inflation for year one, money cash flow becomes 100 plus 10. Because
But
that is one.
year 229.60, year 374.
So for year one is 110. And that is simply because it's 100 times 1.1. Clear? So what's year two?
129.60.
129. Let's try. So for year two, our money cash flow will be
I
real
have
cash flow
139.
139. Good. Let's see. I like different answers. Raised to power 2 because it's year 2. So 1.08 raised to power 2 multiplied by 120. 139.9. That's 140. Yes. So it's not 129. It's 139.9. So we can just say 140. So Surin, did you raise to power 2 when you did it?
That I forget, sir. That's the right.
You forgot that you got it. So that was what I was trying to remind all of you. So what about year
And
3?
year 3 is 234.1.
Let the boy answer me. Why are you shouting him, please? I want to hear from you. He has the answer. The answer that you guys have taken too much time to give me. He wants to give me. Someone is shouting him. 234. Fantastic. So please remember what I'm actually trying to bring out is this raise to power when so don't just do 1 year inflation for second year, for third year, for fourth year. You need to remember that real cash flow means current terms as at now. So that's value at year 0. That's what it means. So we are going to move from year 0 to year 2. Then you must have moved year 1 and moved year 2. So 2 years. Year 3, 3 years. So and that is why you have to use your pen when you're converting your money cash flow. Sometimes it might even go beyond that. They might tell you that government is going to reduce inflation, increase inflation. You just know that you need to put all of that into perspective when you're doing it. Yeah.